Welcome back to Okaloosa today on Cox Communications. I'm Doug Rayner with the City of Destin. As you can see, we're in Okaloosa County's Emergency Operations Center getting ready for hurricane season starting June 1st. Joining me today with the City of Destin is Mr. Tim Petenpaul. Tim is the city's emergency manager and also the acting public services director and in charge of the city's emergency management preparations before, during, and after a storm. So Tim, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Doug.
Well, the goal for today, to follow the county's lead, is to talk about really the preparation for a storm, what happens before a storm, during a storm, and after a storm in the city of Destin, and what our residents and our visitors need to know as far as preparations and so forth. So, Tim, you've got a lot of experience in this area. You've been with the city how many years?
15 years going on.
15 years. You're a veteran with the city in emergency operations as well as just day-to-day operations. So your experience is greatly appreciated. So let's start by talking about preparations. Just in general, what would a family or someone living in Destin need to know and need to be doing right now?
Well, there's several things that you want to make sure, when you're getting prep. I mean, most folks that live here, they understand, whether we're going to have one directly or we'll be affected by one, usually at least every year. So probably the number one thing is to get your family together and develop a plan so that you understand, the things that you're going to need, evacuation routes, things along those lines, so that in the event that something comes up, you're already set up, you're not worrying about it, especially with the time frame we're in now, with it being June 1st, hurricane season's right around the corner. So,
right, and that's, you made a good point. And where we live in paradise, but with that comes the fact that it's not if a storm's going to happen, it's when. We're
True.
going to have something come through here. Families being prepared, understanding, and things like that, evacuations and stuff like that. Let's get to a little bit more specific about your plan, maybe securing your home at this time and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, some of the things you want to think about is fuel. You want to make sure your car's filled up all the time. You don't want to wait until the storm's imminent because lines will be long. You want to have a survival kit along the lines of bottled water, cash, important documents, those kind of things that when you get ready to evacuate, you're going to have ready to go. You want to have things along the lines of securing your house. If you've got storm shutters, of course, drop those. You want to make sure that don't wait until the storm is on its way, imminent, before you start cleaning up your property. You want to make sure if you've got loose branches or patio furniture, those kind of things that could become flying debris during the storm once it gets here that could cause additional damage to your house. You want to get those things secured now.
Right. Something that you mentioned with the yard debris, a lot of people think, oh goodness, a storm's 3 or 4 days out. And luckily we have that kind of preparation time, but it's not always easy or available that all these things can be picked up by the service providers in the city. So, you lay limbs out by the road and they don't get picked up. They become projectiles and dangerous for your environment and people around you.
Exactly. You start talking some of those high winds that are to come through, you may have all that stuff set out by the side of the road, ready to be picked up, but it causes a problem. You want to be taking care of that now so that you don't have to set it out there when a storm is imminent, because they may not get to it. You may have branches flying through your windows. It's just not a good part of your plan to be taking care of that just prior to a storm.
Right, that's just something to avoid and something that will make your life a little bit easier. So start today, start getting those things cleared around your home. The city's services with waste management, they pick that up for free on a weekly basis, so just make sure you do that. The last thing, or another thing we have here is the city will supply some sand. In case you need some sandbags. How do we have that set up, Tim?
That's right. At our Public Works facility, we've got a sign up front that says maintenance yard. So actually located at 3949 Commons Drive. If we have a storm on the way, we provide piles of sand and sandbags for folks to come if they're prone to an area that with heavy storm water could flood. It's provided free of charge. You'll have to fill them yourself, but at least we'll have that provided for you so that you can take that if you'd like.
Right, and so in preparation, make sure you do go pick some sandbags up. The city does have a limited supply, but we definitely will supply those if something's going to happen. We feel like a storm's coming through. And the last thing we have here is make sure we notify others of your plan, that you let people know where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, because if something actually comes through here pretty bad, others need to know where you are.
That's exactly right. In fact, with the city of Destin, that's a requirement of ours. When we know that folks are going to evacuate, we ask them to make sure they give us their location they're going to be, a point of contact, and actually another family member, so that if for some reason we can't contact you, we can contact them and they may have heard to make sure you're safe. So that is a very, very important part of making sure everybody's safe.
And in the preparation phase, the city's actually put together a good bit of information to help people understand what they need to be doing before, during, and after a storm. And on the city's website, cityofdestin.com, there is a place under the residents tab that's called Hurricane Information Guide.
Right.
Starting June 1st, that'll be active on our site. It's a 7 or 8 page document that details everything you need to know about storms in the city of Destin, also storms in general, shelters in the county, contact phone numbers, plans, what to do, what not to do. We really encourage our residents and our visitors, if they're here, to go download that form. They can print it or they can just get it online.
Very important. The amount of information that's contained in there is just about all you would need.
Right, it's very comprehensive. We work with you and your folks to make sure it's up to date. We've talked with the county and we feel like it's where it needs to be. We publish that every year, so we want to make sure that our folks take a look at that.
Yeah.
I know that the county mentioned their Ready Okaloosa app. That's something that's new. It's something easy. Just download the app. That way you can get the information you need, keep track of storms, and find out what will be going on. They keep that updated. The county has an information line, 311, where people can call in and find out status updates and things like that. And also, we just encourage people to sign up with the Notify Me service of the city website through emergency alerts. And this is something new, Tim, that we're doing this year. Didn't have it last hurricane season, but people can sign up to get, first of all, we'll send you the hurricane information guide in your email. We can also tell you when alerts are coming. We'll follow the county's lead, post information about closings and things like that. And I know for the emergency management's sake, it's really important that people stay updated and stay alerted.
Without a doubt. That's probably one of the most difficult things that we deal with in the event of an emergency, prior to, during, and after, is the flow of information. You've got millions of rumors flying out there. We get phone calls all the time, say, well, I heard that so-and-so, and with this app or the websites that you mentioned, that's going to be the most up-to-date information. You should rely on that, because that's been gone through the city, to the county, probably from the state level as well, coming down. That's going to be the most accurate information. You're not going to have to worry about, so-and-so down the road told me that the bridge is closed, and you check that and you're going to know right away.
That's right. We don't ever want to really take somebody's word for it. It can be substantiated through a lot of different avenues, like I said, 311 on your phone, Ready Okaloosa app, City of Destin's website, and that will really, really get you there. You just actually attended the hurricane conference down in South Florida, learned a lot, and you told us on the way over here that communication is the key. It really is to understand what's going on around you. Don't take anything for granted, and substantiate everything that you're hearing, whether it's in the media. You can do it through the county and the city.
That's exactly right. I mean, a lot of folks depend on the Weather Channel, and as we know in the past, that while they're accurate probably 99% of the time, unless they don't always have the most accurate information, because they haven't gone through the county, and the county may know more, the city may know more. We've got folks actually out in the field relaying this information to us before we send it out to the public. So it's very important.
So for our Destin residents and visitors, make sure you follow the city's website and Okaloosa County's website during a storm to get the most accurate information. Let's move on to during a storm, and we have two different topics here. Did you stay here or did you evacuate?
Exactly.
And if you stayed here, what are some of the big things you need to understand?
If you stay here, you will probably have a sheriff, fire department, or somebody along those lines. If they're looking to see the evacuation, they're going to ask you for the next of the kin, because they don't know if they're going to be able to respond. In fact, I guarantee you they're not going to be able to respond once the storm hits.
That's right.
The EMS and the fire department, the sheriff's department, they are not going to put their lives at risk to come out and save you because you chose to stay as opposed to evacuate. So should you stay, some of the things you need to make sure you do is hopefully you've got a generator. Will help you if you lose your power. Water, food, that plan we talked about earlier, the supply package, make sure you've got all of that. Make sure you load it up and be ready that you may have to survive for 3 or 4 days after the storm.
That's right. You said use extreme caution. Going outside, there could be power lines down and things like that. You never really know until after it comes through what you're dealing with.
That's exactly right.
You mentioned emergency services. They say they won't respond when winds hit 40 to 50 miles an hour. That's important to know. You're kind of on your own if you stay through a bad one.
You are. The bridge is closed.
The bridge closes at 35 miles an hour, so you won't be able to leave Destin other than going east, and your areas are limited down there too.
That's exactly right.
The other thing we want everybody to know is where the shelters are. And they're actually here at the college where the county EOC is, and there are 6 or 7 other shelters throughout the county north of Destin. So make sure you understand that. That can be gotten in our hurricane information guide. And anytime anybody has any questions, we also encourage them to call the city.
Sure. In fact, with the shelters as well, they may not open all the shelters. You know, you may have a special needs individual, so they've got certain shelters set up that way. And that's how the county alerts us which shelters are available. If you leave your house instead of evacuating all the way out of town, you can go to those locations.
That's right, and we'll relay that information.
We sure will.
As the county provides it. So let's go into the other aspect of during a storm. Did you evacuate? If you left the area, of course we say monitor the media and city, county websites for information, but what else should people be understanding of if they leave the area?
You may have restricted access trying to get back in. The area may not be safe. You may not have roads available to get back in, so you need to make sure you monitor the media, as you said, and they should provide you that information. Actually, they're going to give you an all clear once it's done. That's when you can consider coming back, but information is knowledge, as they say, regarding. So it's always good to monitor the media, and if you've got your supply kit, you're with you good, your family's with you, shouldn't have a whole lot of worries while you're not in town.
That's right, and something, you said getting back in, limited access, that's something I think the city has experienced before. You leave, you come back, and you want to get to your home. That's really not always easy to do. So we're going into after a storm. Now we're at a position where we need to know what it is that our residents should understand.
Yeah, I've been through several of the storms here over the 15 years I've been here, and we've actually closed Gulf Shore Drive twice since I've been here. Emotions run high when the folks get back. They're concerned about their property. They want to go see it. A lot of times you can't allow them to do that because, as you mentioned, power lines could be down. You could have sewer overflowing. You may not even be able to get access. I mean, I've seen the road on Gulf Shore Drive covered in 10 feet of sand. So there was no way to even get down there unless you walked. And construction debris, I mean, the hazards are it's just not worth it to find out if your property is there. We're going to get the road open. We're going to get you down there just as quick as we can, but you just have to be smart about it. And
patient. I think that's another thing. Understand that the city's working full speed with other emergency operations people to make sure that everything available to the residents is actually going to happen and available. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the city's assessment of the city, the city employees. How does that work once the storm is over?
Well, typically what we'll have is once that all clear is given, the city employees will start getting back in, as we mentioned, depending on access to get here. Once the folks get here, then we go out and we disperse throughout the city. We do what we call windshield damage assessments, where we drive down every road that are available. The ones that are blocked, we make those priorities so we get those clear. Power lines down, those kind of things. We go throughout the entire city to look and see what problems exist where. From there, we report that information to the county so that information will be available, as we discussed, on the website. So it's very key because you're talking possible buildings that could be a hazard. Your house may not be safe to enter. If there's structural damage, we have building inspectors that go out. We have engineers that go out and assess these areas to find out the status of the city, and we can provide that information to the public.
Very good, and that's something we've been working on, is using our website to put that out. Maybe we don't know if we're going to map it yet or do a list of streets that are clear, but right. You don't have to call City Hall. We're going to make this available to you electronically, right, through our website and through alerts if you sign up to do that.
Exactly.
And again, this is something that we wanted to stress, is that the city really follows the county's lead before and during a storm, and until that all clear is given. And after that, we really want our residents to be patient and understand that what we're doing is we're making sure that this city is safe for them to be in again.
And that's the key. You know, we're going to make sure that the information we're putting out is accurate. If you see it on the city website, the county website, you know that it's been checked out and double checked, and that we're comfortable that the information going out will provide you a safe situation to get back into wherever you're going, or just to let you know if the road's open. So yeah, that's the important part.
Well, and I think you just kind of wrapped it up for us. The key is being prepared.
Yep.
Make sure you follow county and city information through the city's website, cityofdestin.com, Okaloosa County's website that actually converts into an emergency site when they go to that mode. The city does the same thing. All of that information is readily available. So be prepared. Get our hurricane guide online.
That's right.
And we hope that we don't have to use any of that this year.
Exactly.
Well, Tim, I want to thank you for being here. We really appreciate it, and all your work that you do here in the city of Destin, getting us ready, and your knowledge will be a benefit to us. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks, Doug.
I want to thank you for watching this show, watching Destin's segment of Okaloosa Today. If you need any more information, please check out the city's website, cityofdestin.com. Remember to download the Hurricane Guide under the Residents tab. And if you need anything else, call the City of Destin, 837-4242. Stay tuned for Ted Corcoran with the City of Fort Walton Beach next. See you next time.